Okay, well, what does everybody think? Hey everybody, welcome back. So David sent me this in the mail. Now, I didn't know he was actually sending me this. I just got a random text message saying, did it get there? And I didn't know what he was talking about. And then I went down to the mailbox and I found this. He said it's lights for the front of the 36. Now, obviously the front of the 36, as it sits right now, doesn't have headlights or turn signals. It doesn't have side markers or anything like that. So he sent me a bunch of lighting from Amazon and said to basically do what I want to do to it, but make sure that it's going to be street legal, or street legal enough that we could at least prove that it's got headlights and taillights and everything like that. So I know that this car isn't going to be driven around on the street a ton. It'll spend most of its time at a racetrack or autocross, and if not there, it probably won't be driven at night very much. So the lighting is really just to be so that we can show, if we were ever to have any issues, okay, look, we do have headlights, we've got turn signals and everything like that. So I have no idea what's in this box, so let's get it opened up and find out. Motorcycle turn signals, a brake light, 30, 10Y, 10R, 10W, 10 yellow, red, white. Thinking that these are going to be the side markers, which is where the fenders used to be, but we'll be putting these on the side. Center brake light, and then these are the front turn signals. Okay, and I want to make sure that everything works, so we're going to go through every single light. And here's our 9-volt battery. We got positive and negative. Okay, that's a little weird. So the black is positive and the white is negative. So most of the time, black, brown, green is negative, and then the other colors are positive, but either way, that works. All right, here's our motorcycle turn signals, and we've got 3 wires coming off of this one, and I think one is ground, one is a constant, and then one's a signal. But I guess we'll find out. So the red turns on this. The yellow turns on, oh, that's way cool, look at that. It's all of a sudden the word's escaping me, but there you go, that's how that turn signal works. So I'm gonna have to figure out how to give this constant power, because the one on the car blinks. So it turns off and on as, yeah, you know, it lights up the light bulb. This needs constant power. So that may be a little bit more tricky, but that's way cool. So let's grab the other one real quick here and make sure that they're both working. So I think the blue thing on the back is to tell the rider of the motorcycle that your turn signal's on. I'm thinking maybe I'll hang them upside down on the front or something. But yeah, these will probably be the hardest thing to mount up. I probably shouldn't have said that before I open up this one, because I probably just jinxed myself. Okay, there you go. All right, that works out pretty good. So these are your running lights, and then when you hit your brakes, so this would be like at night when you've got your lights on, then when you hit your brakes, it lights up even more. And I guess there's some lights here on the bottom facing down. So this is probably to like illuminate a motorcycle, like a license plate. So this probably sits right above the license plate and illuminates it. So I don't know where we're gonna be sticking the license plate on this car, but we might put it underneath this. So I'll probably just leave those for right now. I guess if we didn't want these on later, you just pull this apart and cut those bulbs out or black them out or something. Anyways, so that's cool, everything works. We got our side markers, our turn signals, center brake light, and then I think I want to make some DRLs with this. All right, so we're gonna start with the hardest thing first, and I think it's gonna be these turn signals. Like I mentioned earlier, it's gonna need a constant power source. So what I need to do is find out which relay controls the turn signals. So it's this one here. This one here is constant. Now I'm gonna turn on the left turn signal. All right, so with the left turn signal on, This one remains constant, and then this one turns on. This is the 12 volt that turns on when one of the blinkers, I can't remember if this is right or left, but there's this one here, and then on the opposite corner, there's this one on the other side. So what I did was I just got the insulation back there, and then I will be soldering on a new piece so that I can basically splice into that and then come out, and that's how we'll be doing the turn signals on the front of the car. All right, well, here is our empty eye socket where the headlight used to sit. Now I wanted to hang these like this, but the wires would come out the top and there's not a hole there. So I saw this guy right here, and I think this is an original mounting point for the headlight. So I might have it sit like that, and then I'll put it out at a bit of an angle so it's mostly forward but a little bit to the side. And that way it gives the same amount of blinker lighting that the corner marker used to. So I'm gonna remove this and see if it fits in there. Yeah, I was kind of hoping to hang it. I really don't want that facing up. And I'm gonna say this right now, I don't think that this is gonna make the car look any better, especially with these being the headlights. Because we had these sitting around, this is what I already am gonna be using. So you'll have your high and low beams, and then we'll tilt these appropriately as best as we can. I don't have my hopes up. So that ends up working out better than I actually thought. And this piece right here is angled because this is how it's screwed in. So when you put it on there, it's gonna tilt like that. So I'm just gonna flatten this piece out a little bit and make sure it sits upright. And then I'll bring the wires up here like this, get them out of the way, make sure that everything's nice and watertight as best as I can get it, and then we'll get them hooked up. All right, well, there's that turn signal in. It does go up, but whatever, and it sits there and clicks because it thinks that there's a light bulb. Well, there is a light bulb missing. This will never replace what the OEM wants to actually see in the place of a light bulb. So it'll double click like that, click really fast. The back turn signal and the side marker will click really fast. This will just run constant like that. But again, we're not super worried about it. That's like our least of our concerns, is the fact the car thinks that it's missing turn signals. It's missing a lot more than that. With this project done, I'm gonna do the other side, but before I do the other side, I wanna show the back center tail light, because I think that one's probably gonna be the next hardest thing to do. And then once we're done with that, then we can start doing some more fun stuff up front. All right, so on this convertible, the tail light used to sit right here in the trunk. Oftentimes the taillights will sit at the bottom of the rear window or the top of the rear window, but I'm thinking if we do the same level that the trunk one was sitting at and then just go straight back to here, that will give us our third brake light right there in the middle. And that should be pretty easy to do. There's a lip right here. So I'm thinking we can just drill through that, bolt that onto there, make some room for the wires obviously, and then I should be able to hook this system right into the pre-existing wire harness, which I still have here because I have not removed it. So I've just got to figure out which one is the brake light and then just go from there. So we were thinking about putting the license plate right here, which would be, again, essentially where the license plate was, just in a little bit. And we'll make sure that it's clearly visible. We wouldn't like hide it back in there because we're not trying to get pulled over or anything like that. So the bottom of this brake light has LEDs here to illuminate a license plate, meaning I need a 12 volt switch to turn on when I flick the position into the parking lights, and then I need another 12 volt when you hit the brake lights. So what I did was I found this one right here used to go to the lights that would illuminate the license plate bracket, and then here is the original brake light. So you got power for the brake light and then ground, and then you got power for the little lights that used to illuminate the license plate. So I will put the one that used to illuminate the license plate to turn this on halfway and then turn on these bottom lights. And then I'll use the one that does the brake normally to turn on the brakes completely. I'll go over this again once I get everything wired up just to show everybody. But I'm pretty happy with that. I just had to do a little bit of testing, brought my voltmeter back here so we could go through all the wiring. But this will be pretty cool. And then again, we will just be mounting it like that. So I just got done with my test run, made sure that all this was working right. Now I'm actually gonna get these put together like they should be. Obviously don't do this. This is not the correct way to put wires together. We'll be grabbing the soldering iron and some shrink wrap. And then I'm gonna separate these wires from the rest of this harness so I can run these ones separately up to the middle where I need them to sit. And then I will drill some holes and get this mounted. All right, so I'm happy with the way this one turned out. It is kind of pointing down a little bit. I can't tell if it's because I've got the front of the car jacked up or not. If that's the case, then when I put the front of the car down, it won't be a big deal. If it actually is tilted, what I can do is I can just remove this and then I'll grab something like this crescent wrench and then I can just bend this piece of metal. So I'll just take this off and then I can adjust it as I need to. What I did to avoid having to drill something for the wires, since I had already soldered them and I didn't want to drill a hole and unsolder them and then put them through the hole or anything like that, I actually just put a couple spacers behind here. I just used some random nuts that fit, gave me a little bit of room so that you're not pinching the wires, and then I'll run these around and tidy everything up later. But now this one's done, let's go to our next lighting project. So luckily enough, this will be a quick one. This is our front passenger side, and normally there is a side marker light that just sits over here on the fender. What I would like to do is use one of these for the side marker, and turns out that this one fits just right into that hole. So what I'll probably end up doing is gluing this one, because this spacing here is too much, so I'll just end up gluing that on there. Then if this ever goes bad, you can pull the light out, and you'd have to pull it all the way out and resolder it, which wouldn't be a big deal. I don't know how long these are going to last, but most of the time LEDs last quite a while. And then if it gets really bad, you can just rip this out. I'm not going to put a ton of glue on it, but that's the plan for right now. And I'm going to use the original wiring that the turn signal used. I'm going to disconnect it from a couple mounting points down here, and then I'm going to run it back up into here, and that will be our new side marker. I am going to be able to leave this where it was, and then I'll just run it straight up into that hole. I did put an extension on the LED side. It would reach, but then I would have to be soldering back inside here, and I don't see how that'd be possible. Now, all I have to do is get these wires down to this hole. I'll get them soldered. I got to find out which one's which. Then I'll be done with this project. All right, so to recap, we have our turn signal done. I've got a side marker on that side done, and then I've got the center taillight done. I don't have the side marker on here or the turn signal there because I'm trying to do one of each project to show everybody, and then I'll do the duplicate side off camera. But now to do something fun and that David doesn't know about. I want to run some DRLs, but I didn't want to build a bracket or anything. And I'm actually thinking, since eventually this bumper will be replaced, I'm thinking I'll just put the lights in a line. I've got 10 of them, so 5 on each side across here, so there'll be like a little strip. So our headlights will be as follows: a 3x2 square one, which looks like this, as your high beam, and then another one duplicate as your low beam. Then here is your turn signal, and you'll have a daytime running light here. And I'll put these on a switch so that as soon as you turn your key to your accessory position, which I believe is this wire here that I've already ran out here. So as soon as you turn your key to accessory, these turn on. So whenever your car is on, these are on. I wanted to do some more fun stuff with maybe some halo rings and kind of build some custom something, but we were really trying to do this on a budget. I think these ones are worth quite a bit of money, but I had them sitting around, and David said that that package he sent me was only like 60 bucks. Well, they aren't perfect. I'm not sure what happened to my spacing in between, even though I measured everything out, but it's not super important. I'm not very worried about it, but I want to get these hooked up so that we can see what they look like. Okay, well, what does everybody think? It looks pretty bad. It looks pretty bad, but honestly, like, I knew that this car wasn't gonna be the most beautiful looking thing, and since we were reusing these square headlights here that, again, aren't the best looking thing, I knew this car wouldn't be this beautiful SEMA piece of artwork, but I didn't think it'd be that bad. I don't know. What do you guys think? It's kind of hard to get. It's kind of hard to get it on camera since the LEDs are so bright in your face. They actually are a little bit directional. So if we come over here to one that's not done, if you look, you can just see that there's a yellow line in there. So that means if you line them all up with all the LEDs going in a straight line, it's very difficult to see that they're not just a single light bar. So I think that turned out pretty good. I hope David likes it because that's kind of what it's gonna be like. I'm gonna still mount up the headlights. They won't sit quite right there. I just was putting them on with some painter's tape so everybody could kind of see where it's supposed to sit. So I appreciate everybody for watching. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Patreon link is in the description below. Thanks to all my newest Patreons. I've been getting a lot of support, a lot of good comments from everybody. If you have any questions, please ask them. I do my best to reply to everybody. And until next time, we will see everybody in the next video.